So are you just now realizing I'm not a little princess? Or did you think maybe it's something that's happening over time? Maybe you think it's something you're causing. Hmm. Did you ever see that movie, The Beguiled? I don't I don't think I caught the newer version with what's that guy's name? Colin something. And Nicole Kidman, I think, was in it too. I saw the older version with Clint Eastwood. I think it's I love that movie. I think it's excellent in showing the little girl in a woman and the woman in a little girl. So by that I mean, if you haven't watched it, go watch it, and you'll see it's about a guy, soldier during the Civil War, and he's a Yankee soldier. He's not Confederate, and he's minorly wounded, and he abandons the fight, kind of crawls off, and happens upon a school for young girls, and it looks like various ages from maybe about 8 up into the teens. And there's only a handful of girls there, a headmistress, one of the teachers, and I believe a maidservant was in the original story. Well, he hides off to the side, sort of out in the woods on the fringe of the property for a while, until that little girl, the youngest girl there at the school, who was maybe about 8 years old, she's out playing near the woods and picking flowers and such. When she finds him, she finds the soldier, and she becomes smitten with him and sort of motherly and protective towards him. At the same time, she tries to get him help. And she ends up sort of getting him in with the school. Like they could have just turned him over. The headmistress was almost of a mind to, for the sake of keeping her girls safe, that she was responsible for. But instead, she decided to let him stay at the school and, I guess, stay safe and do some odd jobs here and there. He could have made it through the war if he had just kept his hands to himself, just stayed in a little room somewhere, or maybe even in the shed or the barn or something, kept warm, asked for a bit of food once in a while, and kept his hands to himself. He could have made it through that war totally fine. Could have walked his ass home in maybe like a few months to a year or something with barely an injury, right? But that idiot didn't know how to keep his hands to himself. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think, what was the order it went in that he started going through those girls? Was it the headmaster first and then the teacher, or was it the teacher and then the headmaster and then the teacher and then one of the teenage students at some point got caught, lost a leg in the process? But anyway, I don't want to completely ruin it for those of you who haven't watched it, except, yeah, spoiler alert here, I'm going to give it to you. In the end, he was such an asshole. He picked up this little turtle, the little girl's turtle, lost his temper, and smashed the little pet turtle, killed it. And she was just inconsolable, that little girl, over it. Of course she was. That was her baby, And you could see throughout the movie the women starting to, like, they're, the older they are, the more suspicious they are. But then they all start to sort of come around to suspicion and to disliking him. But the little girl was the last to give in to that, and that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, was the turtle. And in the end, when the women were deciding, well, I guess maybe the teacher sort of gave in at the and was going to marry him. But in the end, that little girl, I remember, they decided, the headmistress and some of the other young women decided, yeah, we can't afford to have this guy here anymore. He's too dangerous for us. He's too dangerous to the kids. He's too dangerous for all of us. And best we just do away with him. And I think I recall that little girl saying, I know where the poison mushrooms grow. So they decided to poison him. And the little girl was the one that went and picked the poisonous mushrooms that they poisoned him with. That sweet little girl. And she was still sweet after that. She was still kind. She was still nurturing. She probably wound up with another pet turtle she loved, or a kitten, or a puppy. Even sweet, innocent little girls can be nasty creatures, particularly if you give them a reason to be. You have to be some kind of asshole to make a little girl who was previously smitten with you and feeling motherly and protective of you, even, to make her want you dead or suffering. Don't you? We are at war, Zay. I can't afford to let myself see you in too much of a human light. I can't be too empathetic towards you, if you know what I mean. I can't afford that. I can't start getting it in my head, oh, well, he's not that bad, aside from the child raping. So I will continue to drive wedges between us. That is what needs to happen. Do you ever stop to think about what you're hunting, Zay? Is it innocence you thought you were hunting? I guess, like, the crab monster, to some degree. Anyway, if my innocence and purity were ever totally gone, I wouldn't bother myself with a little urine-soaked, matted cat that bites the shit out of me. All right. I think that's enough for now.